My brother was a legendary fellow in many ways. In many ways. He was very dynamic. He was very powerful. When he had an opinion, it wasn't a secret. You knew about it. But his actions, interestingly, were louder than his words. His ability to transform his Shabbos table into a operating room table has been repeated many, many times. And it's mentioned here for the record because that's what he was famous for. But I'm not going to say more than that. Stitch up many people in many parts of their injuries. But his his giving of himself to the Yochid and the Tzibur was really the dynamic of his personality. Whatever he thought, whatever he felt, it was his imperative to give of himself, to give to every cause that he felt was worthwhile, to put out his maximum effort, whether it was going to Eretz Yisrael, whether it was going to run meetings, whether it was running the Orthodox Jewish scientists. He gave it his all, and he did it very successfully. On the video that was put out by a complete stranger that I don't know who he was, and I've seen the video, I'm sure many, if not most of you have seen it, brought out another aspect of his personality which I thought was so interesting and well known, but not mentioned enough times, I think. When he would get on a plane, he would notify the plane's stewardesses that he was a physician, and more often than not, was called upon to render medical help as necessary. And none of us, certainly not myself, ever thought of doing that. And I've heard people starting to do that based on his experience. One example, not the only example, but only one example of his giving of himself. In addition to that, he was a fairly well-known Talmud Chacham. He knew how to learn. We did Daf Yomi for many years when he was disabled, and he was a dynamic learner. He had good concepts, he had good understanding of the Inyanim, and his knowledge was far and wide. He knew a lot of stuff. So he was well educated, some of it self, much of it from his yeshiva days. And that's another aspect which I think was not emphasized in the past, that he really was very accomplished. He gave many lectures on medical ethics. He was a very, very Talmud Muvhak of Dr. Rosner, a world authority in medical ethics and medical halacha. And in exactly the same way, he was a Talmud Muvhak of Rav Moshe Tendler, Zatzal, Rav Moshe Feinstein's son-in-law, who had a tremendous bikiyas in medical ethics and a tremendous experience, and also was very close with my brother in terms of providing the Orthodox Jewish scientists as a Rebbe with Rav Moshe's Psakim, as well as his own thoughts and concepts and Psakim in halacha and in various medical issues which were vital to the times, even and still till today. Many of them are still there, as far as is written. And my brother had a large role to play in many of those Sfarim and Psukim, which have withstood the test of time and continue to be a source of knowledge and inspiration to those who see them. On a personal level, we grew up together. He followed many times in my footsteps. Unbeknownst to me, he wanted to go to school when we were little kids because I was in school. He wanted to do things because I was doing things. I remember the day till today, the day that he was accepted to medical school, my school, New York Medical College, and was an outstanding student and was very successful, of course, in his medical practice. He had a huge medical practice, and many people were devoted to his care, loved him, appreciated him, and continued on with even some of them with me after his passing because they wanted to stay in contact with a Bennett doctor. So his medical practice was a testimony to his expertise, his caring, I think more than expertise, but the expertise had to be there, He knew what he was doing, but his caring, his concern for each and every person that he took care of, and his success. His family is a wonderful example of being a wonderful father in a Chabanim. Each and every one of his children is an outstanding individual in their own right, and they're all successful in their chosen fields, and both in Gashmias and in Ruchnias, and we are proud to be related to them, and we hope that we'll continue to see nachas from them and from the whole family, and his legacy shall continue on. One very small thing, which very few people know about, but the family does, is that he donated the parochasim to Rabbi Oldham Shul for the Yomim, Yomim Tovim. And when we put them up in the past, I've always made it my business to let him know that I put them up. And of course, now I can't do that anymore. I've been officially retired by my family from putting them up and taking them down. But they're still going up and going down thanks to my family, my Kinderlach, my Einiklach, Tzvi in particular. And on the last one I put up, I made the point that it was noted clearly that his legacy is continuing. So his legacy is continuing in a very, very real, concrete way by seeing it, but also in his teachings, his medical care, his family. His legacy will go on. May his neshama have an aliyah. May we continue to have nachas from the product of his efforts. And we should see Mashiach Tzidkenu. I'm sure he's up there banging on the door of the Mashiach's room, telling him to get down there already. That would be his way. B'ez Hashem, we should have the Gula Shlema Be'er Amen.